After I got engaged, my dad told me, "Don't expect us to pay for the wedding. We're not throwing money at a mistake." My mom said, "We just hope he sticks around this time." I laughed it off, smiled through the rehearsal. At the reception, they didn't toast me. They didn't even sit at the head table. A week later, they asked for photos to show friends. So I sent them one of me with my in-laws, surrounded by love. No caption. Just silence. I'm 32 now. I live in Dayton, Ohio. And I haven't spoken to my parents in over a year. Growing up, I was always the easy one. I followed the rules, stayed out of trouble, paid my own bills as soon as I could. My brother Drew was the favorite even when he was wrecking cars, skipping class, lying about everything. They never called him a disappointment. He was just figuring things out. I didn't need them to be perfect. I just needed them to see me. That never really happened. When I met Tyler, I was tired. I'd spent most of my 20s trying to fix things, fix jobs that drained me, fix family dynamics that never really existed, fix a broken heart from a guy who proposed and then slept with someone else a month later. That last one nearly did me in. And my parents? They didn't say, "I'm sorry," or even, "Are you okay?" They said, "We warned you." So when Tyler came along, I wasn't looking for anything. He was just a guy who fixed the broken heating system in my building. He showed up in this beat-up truck, said, "I'll be out of your way fast," and then stayed an extra 10 minutes to help me move a bookshelf. The first thing I noticed about him wasn't his looks. It was the way he listened. Not just nodded along, actually listened. I hadn't had that in a long time. We dated for 2 years. Quietly. No drama, no huge fights, no grand gestures. Just a lot of evenings at home, shared projects, talks about stuff that mattered. His parents invited me over after 6 months. His mom taught me how to make pie crust from scratch. His dad showed me how to sand down rough wood edges without splinters. They didn't act like I had to prove anything to them. When Tyler proposed, it was just us. A trail at Hocking Hills. Mid-fall. Leaves everywhere. He didn't even kneel, just looked at me and said, "I want to do this forever, if you do too." I cried. It wasn't loud or flashy. It was honest. We told his parents first. They hugged me so tight I couldn't breathe. His mom started crying. His dad slapped Tyler on the back like he'd just won a prize. We told my parents the next day. I should have known better. We sat in their living room. They were both on their phones when we walked in. My mom didn't even look up at first. "We're engaged," I said, smiling. Silence. My dad finally said, "Don't expect us to pay for the wedding. We're not throwing money at a mistake." A mistake. My mom glanced at Tyler, then back at me. "We just hope he sticks around this time." I felt like I'd been slapped. I looked at Tyler. He didn't say anything, just rubbed my back real slow. I tried to laugh. That's what I always did with them. I smiled too hard and said, "We're paying for it ourselves." That was true. We didn't ask for anything. We didn't need anything. Over the next 6 months, we planned everything. The venue was in Cincinnati, not far from where Tyler grew up. We invited 85 people. My parents were on the list, but I stopped updating them. They never asked about it anyway. Tyler's family helped with everything. His mom made table runners. His cousins offered to help serve drinks. His dad built us a custom arch out of reclaimed wood for the ceremony. My parents didn't even RSVP. I only knew they were coming because my mom texted me 2 days before. "What's the address?" They showed up 10 minutes before the ceremony started. My mom wore a white dress. My dad looked like someone had dragged him to jury duty. No greeting. No smile. I still tried. I said, "Glad you could make it." My dad grunted. My mom said, "It's hot out," and walked off. At the rehearsal dinner, they sat in the back. Didn't talk to anyone. Didn't even clap after the toasts. When my best friend cried during her speech about how I finally looked happy, my mom rolled her eyes. I caught her doing it. Just this little annoyed flick like it all bored her. The wedding day was beautiful. Sunny, no wind, perfect temperature. I stood across from Tyler, and I forgot they were even there. After the ceremony, we had a head table for us and our parents. Tyler's folks sat with us, beaming. My parents picked a corner table near the exit. They didn't toast, didn't dance. My mom didn't even take a single photo. They left before we cut the cake. I didn't cry. I didn't yell. I just felt this cold, heavy pit where something used to be. Not grief. Not anger. Just finality. A week later, I got a text from my mom. No greeting. No congrats. Just, send some wedding photos. We want to show friends. No apology. No, we're proud of you. Nothing. I picked one photo. Just one. It was me and Tyler, standing with his parents. I was smiling. He was laughing. His mom had her arm around me. His dad had just made a joke. We looked like a family. I sent that. No caption. They never responded. And for the first time in my life, I realized I didn't need them to. 3 months after the wedding, Tyler and I were settling into married life. It was quiet, peaceful. We were fixing up the house together, trying to get pregnant, taking weekend trips to flea markets. I felt like I'd finally escaped the storm I grew up in. Then my brother Drew called. I hadn't spoken to him in over a year. He didn't even come to the wedding. Said he had other stuff going on. I'd heard through cousins that he was still living with our parents, still job hopping, still crashing on couches when he burned another bridge. When I saw his name flash on my phone, I almost didn't answer. But I did. Hey, he said. So, I'm guessing you're still pissed at mom and dad. I didn't say anything. He kept going. They've been asking me to talk to you. They said you're ignoring them. I'm not ignoring them, I said. I'm just done. He laughed, like that was dramatic. Come on. They're your parents. No, I said. They're people who happen to be related to me. That doesn't make them good. He was quiet for a second. Then he said, well, they're planning a party. Mom's turning 60. Big thing. They want you there. I almost laughed. They didn't even come to my wedding. They did. They didn't show up as family. They showed up to make a point. He sighed. They're still your parents. That was the last time I answered one of his calls. A few weeks later, I started getting weird texts. Random Ohio numbers. People I hadn't talked to since high school. Messages like, hey, saw your wedding photos on Facebook. Your parents looked great. I didn't know you had a falling out with your family. What happened? Then someone I hadn't seen in over a decade messaged me a screenshot. It was a Facebook post from my mom. Caption, our beautiful daughter's wedding. Such a proud day. We are so blessed to have shared this with family and friends. The photo? Not the one I sent. It was a grainy side shot of them standing outside the venue. No me. No Tyler. Just them in front of the flower wall. She had the nerve to call it our daughter's wedding like she was part of it. I lost it. I didn't cry. I just sat at the kitchen table and stared at the screen until Tyler found me and took the phone out of my hand. She's trying to rewrite it, I said. She wants people to believe she was there for me. She was there, he said. But not for you. I started commenting on the post. Typed it all out. You weren't proud. You called my marriage a mistake. You wore white. You didn't sit with us. You didn't toast. You didn't even stay. Stop pretending. I hovered over send. Then I stopped. Not because I changed my mind, but because I had a better idea. I messaged the photographer. Hey, I said. I need something. I asked the photographer for a set of untouched photos, everything raw, behind the scenes, even the ones that didn't make the final album. She sent over a drive link within the hour. Hundreds of photos. Some blurry. Some candid. All of them real. I found what I needed fast. There was one of my mom, alone at her table, scrolling through her phone while Tyler's grandmother was giving a speech. Another of my dad standing near the open bar, arms crossed, not clapping, not smiling. One photo caught my mom mid-eye roll, my best friend speaking in the background, tears on her face. I downloaded a dozen of them. And I built my own post. Caption: here's what my parents meant by being there for me on my wedding day. No toasts. No smiles. No love. Just silence, distance, and judgment. But we had joy anyway without them, because family is more than blood. I posted it publicly. Within minutes, the comments poured in. Cousins, friends, people from work. Even people I hadn't seen since college. This is heartbreaking. You deserved so much more. You and Tyler looked amazing. Screw them. Blood isn't everything. The next day, I got a voicemail from my mom. No, hi. No, how are you? Just, I saw what you posted. That was cruel. You've embarrassed us. I hope it was worth it. Click. I deleted the message. But the next part? That caught me off guard. 3 days later, Tyler came home holding an envelope. No return address. Just our names, written in my mom's handwriting. He handed it to me, frowning. Inside was a single photo. It was from the wedding. One I hadn't seen before. It was me and Tyler, walking back up the aisle after saying our vows. And in the background, clear as day, was my mom. Smiling. A real smile. Not fake. Not cold. A flash of emotion, just for a second, before she remembered herself. There was a note on the back of the photo, in her handwriting. This was the only time I felt proud that day. I didn't know how to say it out loud. I'm sorry for that. I still don't know how to be better. But I wanted you to know this moment existed. I stared at it for a long time. Then I turned it over again. And that's when I noticed the faint edge of something else, like there had been another note torn off. She didn't send the full thing. She wanted me to see the emotion, but not enough to own all the rest. She still wanted control over the story. And that's when I knew. This wasn't just about a wedding. It was about truth. About rewriting years of silence. I wasn't going to let her keep the pen. I kept that photo in a drawer. I didn't hang it up. I didn't throw it away. I wasn't sure why at the time, but now I know. Part of me still wanted to believe she could change. That my mom could be something more than cold smiles and whispered shame. That hope didn't last long. About 2 weeks after the envelope arrived, I got a call from an old coworker. Someone I barely kept in touch with. She said she ran into my mom at a church fundraiser. She said you've been distant since the wedding, she told me. That you're still struggling emotionally. That you're having issues with Tyler. I felt my chest tighten. What else did she say? I asked. She said you regret marrying so fast. That you've been fragile. That was a word my mother always loved using about me. Fragile. Like I was glass. Breakable. Something to hide, not lift up. I thanked my friend, hung up, and stared out the window for what felt like hours. This wasn't just about a bad wedding anymore. She was poisoning people's image of me. Lying, twisting, spreading little drops of doubt through every corner of my life. Making herself the concerned mother and me the unstable daughter who turned her back. And, maybe worst of all, I let her. I let her come to the wedding. I let her sit there and be cruel. I sent the photo, hoping it would make her feel something. But she felt nothing real. She never did. So I did something I knew would be final. Tyler and I had started trying for a baby. It wasn't easy. We'd been to a fertility clinic a few times already. We didn't tell anyone. Not because we were hiding it, but because it was ours. Ours to fight for. Ours to hold close. And then, one Saturday, it happened. Positive test. I cried in the bathroom for 10 minutes straight. Tyler picked me up off the floor and said, "This is it. We're doing this." We called his parents. They were in tears. His mom already started knitting, and then I did what I never thought I'd do. I announced the pregnancy online. Publicly. But not like a happy, glowing post. Instead, I posted this, photo number 1, Tyler and me holding the ultrasound, standing in front of the old wood arch from the wedding. Caption: We're expecting. This time, we're doing things differently. No more pretending people are part of our life when they've only tried to tear it down. If you weren't there for the wedding, don't expect to be here for the baby. We won't be passing down shame or silence. We're starting a new family built on honesty. That means no secrets, no toxic traditions, just love. It went viral in my small corner of Ohio. Hundreds of comments, dozens of messages from others with toxic parents saying they felt seen, heard. My parents never called, never messaged. But I found out through my aunt that my mom had seen it. She cried. My aunt told me. Said you were attacking her. I laughed. Not because it was funny, but because it was predictable. I didn't send them any more photos. Not from the baby shower. Not from the birth. When our daughter was born, we named her Elise. Tyler's grandmother's name. My mom's name never came up. When the announcements went out, my parents didn't get one. When people asked, I told the truth. They weren't part of our lives anymore. I started therapy around that time. Not for them, for me. Because even if cutting them off was right, it still left a scar. My therapist said something that stuck. Sometimes the most loving thing you can do is walk away. Not for them, for yourself. Tyler and I are happy now. Not perfect, but real. Our daughter knows who loves her. She won't have to guess. And my parents? They have their stories, their lies, their Facebook memories with fake captions and frozen smiles. But I have the truth. And that's something they'll never control again.